Hey, what's up guys? It's Brian from Whisper Status 74. This video is about gaming with OLED. I rented an LG B8 to see how it would perform in my own environment. I've done several videos on it. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel and community. This video is for a sub to the channel, The Boogeyman, who asked a question the other day about purchasing a Panasonic OLED, which he's getting Saturday. And he wanted to know my thought process on the video game performance with the OLED. Is it what it's supposed to be? Is it less? Is it more? How is it with the motion? How is the ABL? How is the burn-in, the image retention? We're going to cover those quickly in this video, and we'll do more videos down the road on specific games. What you're seeing behind me is Drake's Uncharted on the PS4 Pro, and I will tell you that the gaming on the OLED is awesome. It's been beyond my expectations as far as gaming on it, its performance, how it moves. And I think there is a lot of information out there that we take to heart when we read it without really seeing for ourselves. And there are some misconceptions to OLED in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, when it comes to gaming. One, the motion. You know, OLEDs do struggle a little bit with judder in terms of its motion. 24 FPS, typically movies, panning, which I haven't even encountered much in movies myself. I still have to test that and do a video specific to it. But in terms of gaming, the motion has been absolutely perfect. If anything, the motion is too good, meaning that in first-person shooters, be it Call of Duty, Battlefield, I felt almost too quick. Not the input lag, there is very low input lag, but the response compared to my LED was instantaneous, which almost made me oversteer initially, almost as if the sensitivity of my controller was too high. Within a short period of time, I was used to it, and the motion is not an issue. It's an absolute strength in regards to OLED. So we're not talking about judder. I haven't seen any judder even in the cutscenes of many of these games. I've even gone and played games like Metro Exodus on the Xbox One X, games with maybe a lower frame rate to see if the lower frame rate would cause problems with the fast response time of the OLED, and I didn't see any issues. Any of the blurring that I did see was inherent to the game and the game engine. You know, even though these displays have a faster response time, they're quick, they're not going to help a game that is 30 FPS native. It's not a PC. That said, gaming on a PC has been an absolute joy. Very, very quick, very responsive. Past the motion, which again is the biggest misconception, or one of the biggest misconceptions, the clarity of OLED. Now, we talk about the black, the level of black, the contrast. The contrast really makes everything in the image pop. Everything to be distinct. Now, the black crush that I brought up is still there. It still happens at times where an enemy will turn around and their face will be kind of blacked out. You do lose a little bit of shadow detail, but the flip side to it outweighs that as a negative, and I haven't noticed it as much in some of these games. If you look in the corner here, that entire corner is very dark, but not enough to where I find it as a serious con. It's just something worth mentioning. The clarity, though, there's something that certain displays have that look. You know, Samsung has always had that very clean, colorful look, that almost PC monitor look. And the OLED actually has that. I've always compared OLEDs to plasma as the spiritual successor, being that it has all of the strengths of plasma, the black level, the contrast, the very even picture quality without the dimming of zones, local dimming or edge lit or any kind of glow or blooming. But it doesn't have the weakness of plasma in terms of its dim picture. The display, and this is not even as bright as the Panasonic, is plenty bright. Now, we talked about the brightness being perceived peak brightness, and I still do feel that way. I don't feel it's nearly as bright as your brightest Samsungs or your Sonys or any of those Vizios that are very, very bright. But to me, if you were to say, I'm going to live with this, it would be bright enough. I don't think I'd want more brightness. Even though LED, I do like that pop. Again, the trade-off of the clarity of the image, the fine detail. It reminds me very much of when you're playing a video game at home and occasionally you go to those store kiosks that have a monitor, and how crystal clear that image looks. Now, this display is a lot smaller than my home display, which is 75 inches, so pixel density does play a part in how clean the image looks. But the OLED is very clean. I mean, very clean. Maybe too clean, but it's very clean. There is almost no blurriness anywhere. It's sharp all the way through the image. And that's impressive considering this is a checkerboard rendered PS4 game. It may be native 4K, but there is some dynamic resolution there that doesn't make it as clean as, say, a PC game that is native. However, if you were to tell me this was running on a PC, I'd believe you. That's how clear the image feels in comparison to some of the noise I see with LED. So clarity really surprised me with how crystal clear, meaning that it has all the strengths of the plasma, but doesn't have the dim picture of the plasma or the softness of the image of plasma. Plasma to me was always a very beautiful and natural image. It almost didn't look HD. It looked so good. Getting closer, it would dither and get a little bit soft. Not so with OLEDs. Much cleaner than I would say some competing LEDs are. And it almost feels like it's a higher resolution than my current display, considering it's also larger. But it's very, very clear. And I would want not for more in terms of clarity. That's what makes me think that 8K and us pushing towards that is just not necessary. This is plenty clean. And the third thing I want to point out is the lack of screen uniformity issues, as I mentioned before. The lack of blooming, the lack of the transition from local dimming zones, shutting off, turning on, and any kind of blooming around HUDs or anything like that doesn't exist, subtitles. So the picture has this very painting look to it. And even the design, which I usually could care less about. If you look at over my left shoulder, the Sony 900E has a very small bezel. The bezel-less framing of the OLED really does feel like it's floating in the air. It really does give you that 3D look. It gives you that 3D pop. The dimension in the image, because of its contrast, does give you that three-dimensional look. When you see a totally black screen and you see a score or, some dialogue, it feels like it's floating a little bit in space. It's that good. I mentioned in another video that at times, though, the HDR can appear to lack the punch that many of the higher end LCD or LEDs do. I still do agree with that, but I do think the trade-off in many ways is worth it. You have to ask yourself if it's worth it, but if you're looking to purchase an OLED, you know about the deep blacks. The black crush is there. It can be adjusted into the settings. I do feel, though, adjusting the black level too much takes away its strength and takes away its vibrancy. But very happy with it, even in game mode out of the box, was pretty impressive with the LG. And I believe the Samsung would the Panasonic would probably be better. And I'm jealous of Panasonic not being in the US anymore. If there's one brand that has my loyalty, it would be Panasonic. I think they still got me. But to have HDR10 Plus, to have Dolby Vision, to have HDR10, to have them all is pretty amazing. And I think you'll have a great, an absolutely amazing gaming experience for the Boogeyman. I think you'll love it. The elephant in the room will always be Burnin. Now, the Clever, who's also part of the channel, pointed out to me the Artings test for Burnin. They did it over a year's time, and their findings are pretty revealing. But got to keep in mind, guys, a lot of those tests are built and designed to create Burnin. I've done many videos of Burnin on this channel, and they're something that I can, for myself personally, I can easily avoid. They do require a little bit more care in terms of screensavers, not leaving static images. Something like Uncharted doesn't have a HUD at all. It's pretty much HUDless, at least the way I have it set up. You don't have to do that. My gaming habits on it, since I've been playing with this OLED, I've been trying to get as much out of it as I can. I have gamed on it nearly every night. The longest I gamed on it was 4 hours, playing Battlefield Conquest the entire time. Those are long matches. Playing Call of Duty World War II yesterday. After the gaming session is done, I immediately shut off the system, and then I'm looking for not burn-in, but image retention. They're very different, guys. Image retention does happen, and it fades over time. Burn-in is permanent. However, no image retention either. So 4 hours gaming, solid, aggressive HUDs. I didn't take any precautions as far as dimming them out or changing their transparency settings at all. Just kind of left them as they were, and no problems. No image retention, not with Street Fighter, not with any of the games that I have played. However, when it comes to gaming, if you're somebody that plays one title, if you're somebody that plays Fortnite or any of these games for 8 hours, 10 hours, it's just not for you. It's just not going to be for you. It's not so much the brightness of the image, it's the same pixels hitting over and over and over and over again in the same spot, which is why logos tend to burn in. It's not because they're so bright, it's just that that continuous area is firing all the time. Now these logos, when you're watching a movie, or I'm sorry, you're watching a show, those logos are still there. It still says whatever the channel logo is, and that's different in the UK as it is here. But no fear for me of image retention. Again, I do switch up my content. I do play different titles. For the Boogeyman, I would suggest the same. If you do play a lot of Call of Duty or any of these first-person shooters, once in a while, throw on a show, let it run for a little bit, get those pixels to fire in different ways. I don't care if you go into YouTube and find a color slide or anything that fires different shades, just to keep it moving and to keep it from settling. But image retention, I thought, would be an issue. Now, I'm not purposely, guys, trying to burn in this display. It is not mine. I rented it, and I would never dream of trying to hurt it. Even though they probably wouldn't notice sending it back. Artings was able to do that over a year's time. I encourage you guys, check out the Artings Burnin test. It's well done. It's over a long period of time, and it's very, very specific. However, I can't not recommend them for gaming. I think they're absolutely amazing. If I was to pick OLED as my gaming display, I would have no problem with it. Its vibrancy is incredible. I think they're very, very sharp, clear. The black level, the contrast, even the HDR performance is amazing. Horizon Zero Dawn, I played yesterday. That was on the video before this one. Check out that video as well. And the clarity and the HDR really hit. And I've seen that game on my own display and on displays that get well over 1,000 nets in my home. The 940E, the KS9000. And it didn't have it, even though it had that same punch. Now, I'm not saying all the games have that punch. I'm not saying all the HDR in all of the films and shows has that same punch, but it's evident. The game was very clear. It wasn't hazy. It was very, very clean. And that's just a lot of the out-of-the-box features and a lot of the out-of-the-box settings. So, the Boogeyman, this video is for you. I put this up without being as detailed as I normally am, simply because I know you're buying this display Saturday and you were a little bit apprehensive. Now, guys, what we see in the comments, a lot of times, it's the same thing. I suggest if you have any thoughts about OLEDs or them being different than the others, go out and rent one. Go to a rent-a-center or whatever's near you. You're going to spend a few $100s. There is a 4-week, I think, rental. You can't rent. Some places are different. It's been a very eye-opening experience. In my opinion, OLEDs were better. I always liked them for gamings because of the motion and because of their appearance. My fear of it was ABL. I talk about that really quick. ABL, Auto Brightness Limiter, which does happen. I have not noticed it happen once yet. I have not noticed it during gaming. I have not noticed it during content. Where I have seen it, I shouldn't have said never seen it, but I do see it on my Windows. When I play Windows, before the computer comes up, it does dim. Games like Street Fighter 5, when the menu comes up and it's all white, it will immediately kind of darken. In regular content, in movies, shows, and in gaming, I have not seen it once. Now, for ABL, a lot of you guys know that some of those systems or some of those settings we turn off in TVs, the ones that dim according to your room, sometimes you feel that. It's aggressive, so a lot of us turn that off right away. OLEDs, in every single review from Vincent or Artings, you'll always hear about ABL, an aggressive ABL. That has not been the case here. It's not made me second guess it at all. So what I mean about echoing comments about things that we read, try to get your hands on one. Try to spend, if we're gonna so hate it, try to spend the time with it. You don't have to buy one. You can rent one. If you're very, I don't feel to hate any particular product. I absolutely hate this or hate that. That is not me or my style. But I recommend these above most displays. They are my favorite overall picture quality. The things I thought would bother me don't. The things I thought I'd love bother me a little bit. A little bit of the peak brightness I love in LEDs is missing here. A little bit of the black crush is a little bit of an issue. It's not a deal breaker. It's something to think about. But if you're buying an OLED, you're already aware of those. This video is primarily here to tell you where it really surprised me. Clarity, the motion is excellent. The contrast is amazing. They are awesome for gaming. As far as image retention, I have not experienced it. Now, image retention I would experience because I am playing for long periods of time. All you would see, for those of you that know what ghosting and image retention is, it does show up even on my plasma. It's there for a few minutes and then it dissipates. I have not had it here yet. And I'm pushing it. I am playing for longer periods of time. But it's been a joy to play on. The motion is better. And it's very colorful. It is beautiful. I'm really enjoying it. I imagine the Panasonic being a newer display is even better because this is last year's B8. But being as picky as I am, and I should have the Vizio Quantum P-Series hopefully before it goes off sale in a few weeks, hopefully while I still have the OLED. If you told me that this is what I was going to have, I would be, controller, I would be very, very happy with it. I would have no problems with it. And primarily, I'll tell you this, primarily because the screen uniformity issues, that the dirty screen effect, the things that plague, look, it's here too. They do have it. There is banding and things like that on OLEDs. They're not immune to it. They're just less immune to it, in my opinion. You may see it in very, very, if I saw any screen uniformity issues here, it is on very black, meaning the TV looks like it's off. You might see a little bit of banding. I have not seen it during any content. You know, I can pan around and I don't see anything. Where on my 940E, when I would pan around in this very game, when I would look up, I would come across banding in the screen. There is absolutely nothing. And I'm one of those guys that is to the screen, you know, looking. Pixel looking for everything, and there is nothing. There is no screen problems. This is also a rental, guys. Keep in mind, if Burnin was this apocalyptic thing, people have rented this since it released, and there's no problems with it. And they're probably nowhere near as aware as many of us are. So, is it perfect? It is not perfect. I have a video where I talked about some of the shortcomings. I've listed a few of them here. Is it amazing for gaming? Is it okay for gaming? It's phenomenal for gaming. Right now, between this and Dolby Vision, the two biggest reasons for me to pick up an OLED. You know, just the gaming. I can't tell you, just the detail in these trees. I mean, the detail. This is the selfie cam, and it looks amazing. And again, making lower resolution games look good. And we'll do an upscaling video as well. We'll do some old 360 games, but that's hard to make that stuff look good on any TV. But the Boogeyman, congratulations on a Panasonic. The Panasonics are awesome. I'm extremely jealous. The UK crew, Chris, Ian, you guys know about the Panasonic. John Hooper, the Panasonic, man, they're amazing. Gaming on it, no worries at all, brother. You're going to enjoy it very, very much, at least in my opinion. Please sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think. Would you pick one up for gaming? Are you scared or have trepidation in regards to Burnin? Is it something that's keeping you away? Has my time with the OLED swayed you or made you more worried about it and more or less to give it a shot? I think they're amazing. Again, not perfect, but they're pretty close to perfect, and they're pretty awesome. And I have no problem keeping this display. If it was larger, I would game on it every day. With also, guys, for questions, it runs on an Xbox One X perfectly well. It runs on the PS4 Pro well. I also have a PC with a GTX 1080 Ti. I've run many games on that. That's the one you saw in the Doom demo versus the 900E. It runs everything amazing, no problems. I didn't have to put it in PC mode, though that is an option. Everything connected well, and it played everything very well, especially high frame rate stuff. So I love it. Sorry for the long video. As always, the Boogeyman, congratulations on your purchase, and enjoy that OLED, brother. It's awesome, and please let me know when you get it. We all congratulate you, and let me know how you like it. All right, guys, I am Ryan, Whisper Status 74. I will talk to you very soon, and thank you as always. Take care.